Hello Absurdisan and welcome back to the Manor Bar, where I have a look at some gaming news and have myself a tasty beverage. Today's beverage is... It's named after Cherno Alpha, one of the Jaeger robots from Pacific Rim, because I saw that movie and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I implore you to see it if you haven't already. But the Cherno Alpha I found on Tumblr. And feel free to click this lovely beverage for a link through to that Tumblr. They have 9 different Pacific Rim cocktails, and I will be trying most of them out. The Cherno Alpha sounds pretty beastly because it is half vodka and half beer. Now, I've had something like this before. It was called a Turbo Shandy, which was probably about that much beer and just a little bit of vodka, and that was pretty intense. That was a while ago. So let's dive in and see what the damage is. Oh, that's actually not bad. You got to choose a decent beer, and luckily I have, and also a decent vodka because otherwise vodka's doesn't really agree with me. But no, I got a good quality vodka and a good quality beer, so that's actually not bad. Quite happy with how that turned out. But definitely go and check out the list of the other ones. Anyway, moving straight into the news. Christ, this is going to fuck me up. Moving into the news, there's just a couple of things today, and they're not really big important things, but things that I found really, really interesting. To start out, we all know Skyrim. Skyrim, the 5th game in the Elder Scrolls series, came out. It was the most recent game up until Elder Scrolls Online comes out, whenever that happens. But we also know that the world of Tamriel, in which Skyrim is set, hosts various other places. And a lot of people have wanted to explore those other places. You were able to in previous games. Morrowind was set in Morrowind. And then Oblivion was set in Cyrodiil and the areas around that. And you've never been able to explore the whole continent in one particular game. But looks like that's about to change, because the wonderful folks over at Game Informer have interviewed some equally wonderful folks who are working on something called Beyond Skyrim. And this is a mod, and it is a mod that sounds like the mod to end all mods, because it hopes to accomplish the fairly lofty goal of recreating the entire continent for Dragonborn adventurers to roam around in and explore. It sounds immense. Just to go into a few details, the effort evolved from relatively small beginnings into a huge collaborative work that includes 6 teams so far working on different areas of the world. And this includes places that we haven't seen before, like Elsewhere, where the cat-like Khajiit race comes from. And also recreating Hammerfell, not Hammerfall, that's a band, Hammerfell, Morrowind, and places that we have seen, but bringing it up to scratch for the Skyrim engine and whatnot. But that means that they are creating entirely new 3D models for buildings, for plants, for rocks, for landscape things, for people. And that includes all the art assets, the textures, for all of these things to give each specific place its own unique character. And they're trawling through old concept art, in-game text, developer notes, and I'm going, this thing is getting to me, I'm going to have a bit more. Oh. Developer notes and interviews, anything they can find to glean more information about these areas, so that they can really flesh them out as close to the original idea as possible. There will be NPCs, there will be new items to loot, there will be new weapons and armour to try out, and there's going to be a whole plethora of new quests. This sounds astounding. I want to get myself a good PC and get Skyrim so that, one, I can just start modding it myself and trying out mods, because some of them just look amazing, look wonderful. And I want to try this out, because it sounds awesome. The whole effort is housed on the Dark Creations forums, which I'll put a link to in the description, and I heavily advise you go check it out. And I'll also link the interview that they did with Game Informer that helps flesh out what they're doing and some of the problems they're running into, and it's a good read. They are actively encouraging people with modding knowledge and knowledge of model and texture work to help them out, because the mod will only progress as fast as resources allow. More people equals quicker development time. And because of the size of this mod, because each region is fairly large, they're not going to bring it out all as one thing. That would be insane. So what they're going to do is release regions either separately or in like small groups, starting from the areas around Skyrim and working their way out from there. And they're expecting the first one or first group of regions to come out in the first half of 2014. So we've got up to a year to wait. But that's still pretty exciting. I heavily advise you go over to the forums and check out the stuff that they're doing. I heavily advise that you give them support and just let them know that you're interested. It's wonderful to see these projects and give them more motivation, because there's nothing worse than working on something and getting no feedback and not knowing if people even want this to happen. So give them your support, spread the word, because if this works, these guys deserve jobs. I mean, in the current game industry, for people to do this in their spare time, this isn't a job, this is spare time work. For people to dedicate that much to something they love doing, that deserves a reward of some kind. So check it out, links in the description. I can't advise it enough. Ooh. Now, moving on to a bit of more light-hearted Skyrim fun, Vsauce Cubed, or Vsauce 3, I think it's Vsauce Cubed, recently released a video about the Fusro shout, which is the shout that the Dragonborn does, and it propels people or objects and throws them around and things of that nature. They've gone into the science behind it. What kind of forces would be needed for a shout that I would do to forcibly project someone or push someone or move something. And it's an interesting and funny video, because let's have a look here. Well, they explain some of the physics behind both sound waves, shock waves, and even space, because this thing affects quite a bit. As it turns out that at best, you're going to kill the person that you're shouting at, but you'll also kill yourself. And that's at best. At worst, you will destroy the entire universe. Right? Go and watch it, because the science behind it boggles my mind, but it's really, really interesting. So I heavily advise you go watch it. But just while you're there, have a look in the comments, because there are some people who are going, but the dragon shouts are magic, not science. Of course it's not going to work as science. I mean, please. And the other people going, well, actually, it's wind that projects the people. It's an external force, not the actual shout itself. And to those people, I just say, Christ, remove the stick from between your arse cheeks and have a bit of fun. You don't have to be so serious about everything. They're not attacking the game. It's a bit of fun. I mean, Christ. In our universe, we have to work with sound. We can't call on dragons or call on the wind or magic and things like that. We kind of have to work with what we have. So, lighten up, you douchebags. So, this has been the Mana Bar, fairly Skyrim heavy, but I love Skyrim. I am looking at getting a PC and hopefully doing a playthrough at some point of it. And yeah, definitely go check out those two things I've linked to today. Definitely check out the cocktail list as well, because Some of them look pretty good. I'm going to be trying them out. Not all of them are as lethal as this one. So, yeah, but definitely worth a look. And this has been the Mana Bar, and I will see you guys next time.